Hey guys, That Organic Mom here, and today I want to show you how to do a Trim Healthy Mama freezer meal prep. This meal prep is heavy on soups, so it is perfect for fall and winter. And you can see here I have the top drawer of my freezer stocked full, and so I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get your freezer stocked with Trim Healthy Mama delicious meals. The first recipe we are going to do is Tex-Mex turkey chili. You want to label your bags before you get started and preferably use a permanent marker. I did not have a permanent marker this day and I had some problem with my marker coming off of my bags. Now I'm using this freezer bag that is a flat bottom freezer bag to make it easier to stand up. And it truly is as simple as just dumping the ingredients in. As you can see, I started with two 15-ounce cans of black beans. Then I added my spices, and I will leave a link to the recipes in the description box below. And now I'm just adding some frozen okra. This is optional. This is 1 cup of frozen okra. And then I simply add the pasta sauce. You want to look for something with no sugar added. Last of all, you want to add your turkey meat. You can use ground chicken or very lean ground beef or another type of lean ground meat. Put the meat in the bag last. That way when you dump it into your crock pot or Instant Pot, it will be the first item to go in, and it will be closer to the heat that way. Now I do thaw this out in the fridge overnight before I put it in my crock pot, and then I take a spoon and break up the turkey meat a little bit. But if you wanted to, you could crumble up the ground meat as you're putting it in the bag so that it doesn't cook in one big block. After you finish adding all the ingredients, simply squeeze out any excess air and then zip it closed, and it's ready to go in the freezer. The next recipe is chicken with red bell pepper and onion. So get your bags ready. I used my food processor to slice my red bell peppers and onions, but you could do this by hand. This recipe is as simple as adding the onions, red bell peppers, garlic, spices, and then just toss in the chicken breasts. Press out any air, zip the bag closed, and it's ready to freeze. The next recipe is going to be Italian chicken. But don't pay attention to what I have written on my bag because I used the wrong bag for this recipe and I had to go back and relabel it. So with the Italian chicken, you just put the chicken breast straight into the bag. Add the spices, the vinegar, chicken stock, and just a little bit of gentle sweet. After you put these items in the bag, kind of massage it around a little bit to distribute the marinade, and it's ready to go in your freezer. Next up is the vegetable soup with turkey meatballs, and I don't like to touch raw ground meat, so I just wanted to show you quickly how I got around patting out meatballs or rolling out meatballs. I simply use 2 spoons and I just do it like I would do drop cookies into my iron skillet, which has been lightly sprayed, and I just cook them this way. It works out just fine and I don't have to get my hands dirty touching the ground meat. Now these meatballs are gluten-free and low carb. They're made from 1 pound of ground turkey, 1 large egg, 2 cloves of garlic, some Italian seasonings, salt, pepper, and 2 tablespoons of baking blend or coconut flour. This is one of my favorite soup recipes. These meatballs can be used in other recipes as well, but for today's purpose, I'm using them for a vegetable soup with turkey meatballs. As you can see, lean meat is more prone to sticking to the pan, but it's okay if you have a well-seasoned iron skillet or whatever pan you use. Just simply let them sear well before you try to move them around. If they stick a little, just add some broth and put a lid on your pan and they will release and come right out of your pan. Now you're going to want to let these cool before you move on to the next step of putting them into the freezer bag with the other ingredients. So after you cook them, just go ahead and transfer them to a separate bowl so they have time to cool down. Now that they are cool, I'm ready to move on to the next step of adding my vegetables and everything to my freezer bags. So I put all of the vegetables into a freezer bag and then I shook it up and then I divided the vegetables between 2 freezer bags. This makes 2 separate portions. So after you add everything, carrots, green beans, zucchinis, onion, then you can add the cooled down meatballs, trying to divide them evenly between the 2 bags. And then next you're going to add some bone broth to each bag. There's no wrong way to do this, just eyeball it. I didn't measure. I just tried to divide it equally between the 2 bags. Afterwards, try to squeeze the air out and then zip the bags closed and they're ready for the freezer. The next recipe is my favorite. This is shortcut minestrone, and you can do this with or without beans. For this recipe, I chose to do it without beans because I like to add some S-style condiments with it sometimes, so I wanted to do this so it stayed in S territory. So first off, you want to start out with about 3 pounds of ground meat. You can use chicken, turkey, bison, beef, whatever you have. About 3 zucchini, 3 yellow squash, 3 red bell pepper, 3 purple onions, 1 pound of baby carrots divided, and 3 cups of green beans. This makes 3 freezer bags, 3 gallon size freezer bags full of minestrone soup that you can stick in your freezer for a later day. So just add the vegetables evenly distributed between 3 gallon size freezer bags. I almost forgot to add the garlic, so I had to put that in, and then I added a little bit more bone broth, which I got at Costco. I do make my own bone broth a lot, but sometimes I buy it and I add that to fill up the bag. As always, squeeze out the air, zip the bag closed, and you're done. I also made some Bust-A-Myth banana cake on this day while freezer prepping, and also several batches of donuts. The full instructions for this freezer prep are available on my website, which is ThatOrganicMom.com, and I will leave the link in the description box below if you want to make this yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next time.